This is Hidden Killers Week in Review.
A look back at the most prolific stories of the week.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers podcast.
With Tony Brueski.
We're talking again with author and reporter Leah Satilli about Chad and Lori Daybell. She's author of the book When the Moon Turns to Blood. Are they sitting there thinking, well, yeah, these are dark spirits. These are, I mean, I know they were calling the kids zombies at some point. Mm-hmm. And yeah, everybody was on the light and dark scale and all of that. It was that, I mean, a real kind of passive aggressive, you are very screwed up in the head, there's some sort of mental disorder going on here, way of justifying the murders and ways of justifying getting rid of these people. So it somehow did make them in the right to take this money because they're going to use that money for the good of spreading their crazy message. And if people have to die to do it, then, well, that's just what God would want. And, you know, they're basically martyrs. Is that kind of the direction?
I think so. I mean, there's an insane amount of excuses that were made along the way to sort of justify this behavior. And I really think that the sort of ultimate portrayal of that was what you referenced earlier, the comments that Lori made at her sentencing, where she said, my children are fine. They have come to me. They said they're okay. They said, don't worry, Mom. You know, those were really chilling comments to hear because you just see the sort of magical thinking that she's had to do to really just sort of live with herself and justify these things. You know, we also heard from the judge at her sentencing that she has an extremely complex mental health diagnosis. I won't even surmise to talk about what it all means, but I think it'll be very interesting to see if a similar diagnosis or something like that is at play with Chad Daybell, or if it's something, more, if he doesn't have one, that almost seems more nefarious.
I mean, it does. It feels like maybe he was getting in way too deep and his desire to have her was, overriding literally everything. And maybe he thought he could, run down that road as far as he could. The fact that she stuck with it for so long is, extremely disturbing. And with that being said, we do have the possibility here of another trial for Lori Vallow in Arizona, unless there's some sort of plea deal between now and then. And I said it at the beginning of the last one, I know there was no insanity defense there, but should there be? I mean, is this someone who really needs to be standing trial anymore? We're talking specifically about Lori. Yes, you want someone to pay for the crimes. At the end of the day, the victims sitting in that courtroom, they want to see that person have some sort of empathy, have some sort of feeling of having done wrong for the crimes that they committed. But you're never going to get that out of Lori. I don't think she's capable of doing it. I think that boat has sailed. The way that she would get there, I think, is far too painful, and her mind won't allow it to happen. So, with that being said, and whatever mental diagnosis we have going on here, are we just poking a monkey with a stick at this point in a cage? Or, I mean, yes, justice, we all want it, but should she just really kind of go away to either a prison system or a mental health facility for the rest of her life?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good question to ask. In Idaho, she went through, I want to say 2, if not more, major mental health assessments. This was part of the reason the trial was delayed for so long, was that she kind of was going in and out of competency, as they call it, because I think they were trying to really understand, is this woman so mentally ill that she can't understand what's happening here? But at the end of the day, they did decide, and the judge did decide she could understand that there was a lot of manipulation at play. So I guess if something else comes out that says that's not right, or if Arizona does their own assessment, then I think that would be the only way. I think it's one of those difficult cases, and I've struggled myself with it for years, of trying to understand, what does this all mean? Could someone that presents themselves to be so normal, by all accounts, she was this, mom that people were like, oh, she threw the best birthday party. She was so good to her kids. Is it possible that a person can turn on a dime, could be radicalized by one person or a set of writings, or maybe was dark all along? I don't know, but those, I think, are some of the reasons why this case remains so fascinating to examine, is that you just see a level of religiosity and manipulation that is just feels kind of unprecedented. So, I have to believe there's something to be learned from all of this. I'm not sure that it's quite presented itself, but it may be about that when the LDS faith tells people they can receive revelation, when it lionizes really conspiratorial people, when, the climate around us in politics feels for everyone like it could end at any time, people who are unstable may take that to really bizarre ends that are difficult to understand.
Sick of the ads?
We are too.
Start listening with no commercials now and get access to all of our episodes in advance of everyone else.
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Sign up now.